Brilliant. Okay, just trying to work out where to on the present button.
If you do that, I'll just do a run through. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday webinar with Annika Digital. My name is Darren Wynn. I am host today, and we're joined by Pete. Pete, do you want to give another introduction? It's good timing. Pete's frozen again. It might be worth turning your camera off, Pete.
Can you hear this now? So I've seen a lot of changes, and Black Friday is an exciting time of the year. There's lots of challenges, and the peak period in general can be busy. Black Friday.
I don't know if the technical issues are me or you, Pete. Can someone in chat just let us know if I'm coming through clearly or if Pete is? Or if we both are.
Right. Okay. So I'll share my screen and we'll go through it.
Okay. I will let Pete know.
Right. Yeah. So
can you hear me, Pete?
Yes.
You're a bit intermittent. Can you turn your camera off so we can just have the audio and the slides, and then I'll let you know if we're still struggling from there.
Right. Yeah, camera off. Any better?
At the moment, I'll shout if we can't hear you.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah. So today's talk is Retail Peak 2025, preparing your campaigns for success. So I've kind of looked into the whole Black Friday peak period and given you lots of insights, lots of content. Hopefully some of it will be useful. So without further ado, a bit about me. I've already mentioned got 16 years in paid. I used to do SEO. When I started at agency side, we did a bit of everything, and then I found that I liked instant results. I couldn't wait for those ranking traffic to come in anymore. So I just went down the paid route and sold myself mostly to Google. I do some paid social ads, but it's a lot of Google and Microsoft ads now. And occasionally I do programmatic ads, which is a bit more exciting because it's bigger budgets and more exciting ad formats. So manage B2B, but mostly B2C e-commerce accounts. I love things to do with shopping feeds and making them better. It sounds quite dull, but you can get improvements to your campaign performance if you look at the detail. And the ads is only part of it. If you send your ads to a page and it's not very good and you're not looking at the website, then you're definitely missing out. So we're Annika Digital. You probably know about us because you've signed up for the webinar. We've got 18 years experience in strategy, social, search, shopping, skills, and most recently trying to use AI to kind of supercharge all these different things because that is the way the industry is going. So what we'll cover today is the data and challenges. I think I've got from some of your survey answers that there's a little bit of apprehension about how well it's going to do. It gets really competitive, doesn't it, during the peak period? So it's whether you can bid aggressively enough to get your ads to even show up and get the results you want. And then there's the powers that be will be pressuring you to hit the target CPA if your lead gen or the ROAS. That is my favorite conversation. Pre-launch campaign setup, what to do just before you launch, campaign launch, and then a little bit of a summary. There's so much to cover on this topic. I don't think I've got everything in this slide deck, but hopefully you'll be able to take something away from it. So the data and the challenges is the best place to start. We know that the economy isn't the best right now, and excuse the emoji, but I think the press and the inflation narrative, and things are a little bit contentious at the moment. But you can see on the graph the kind of August last 3 month period was still below early 2025 levels. It is rising, but we've some way to go. But the good news is that according to my very basic Google Trends research, offers, discount codes, best deals, cheapest deals. Hopefully the peace deal for the war isn't impacted here, but you can see cheapest is also a factor. But it seems that there is more of a appetite for an offer at this point, and that is resonates with the state of the economy. So I think if you've got the right product when it comes to Black Friday, and you can get in front of the right people, there is an appetite for deals. So it just depends on how many people are going to be browsing and whether they're actually going to buy or not. We'll have to see when the data comes in at the end. So over the last 5 years, we know Black Friday, peak period, Cyber Monday is a massive opportunity. So you can see Christmas always dominates, but Black Friday is still there. And one of the things when we drill into the data a little bit more is you can see the spike isn't as high right on the Black Friday date, but it gets wider here. This thing here is wider than before. So people actually started looking for Black Friday deals on the 15th of June this year. I think it was mid-July last year. So it's getting early. You can see on the end of the graph, it's just slightly beginning to trickle, and then it's going to shoot up and be another massive spike. Hopefully it'll be better than last year. You never know. So planning tips, there's, I think, 80% of the work that you need to do to make your campaigns a success are in the planning stage. So it's very important to spend your time here, really. We've not got long until the dates themselves. Is 49 days as of today. Cyber Monday is 52 days away, and Christmas is 76 days away. Hopefully you can still hear me. So we need to start planning campaigns now. If you haven't started already, it's not too late. I think if you're a little bit smarter and more savvy, you may have begun this already. You might have been building campaigns out to increase your audience sizes, maybe a month ago or so. But research shows that younger generations are currently, they start their planning months in advance. There's a quite good report by Clavio. There's some very interesting graphs in there as well. It might be worth you having a look. But they found that within their survey data, 40% of shoppers during Black Friday shop during Black Friday month of 24 starting earlier, and Gen Z, 30% of them start early, and there's more engagement with that demographic. But obviously this is their data. Look at your own data and and see what you can gain from that. So the starting point.
You've gone again, Pete. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds, see if you put back. I'm sure he's still out there. I'll drop him a message as well. I can't believe it's 11 weeks till Christmas. It's always scary every year, but it feels like it gets faster and faster.
If it's short term, you're going to be looking at ROI.
Can you hear me?
The lagging stuff.
Can you go back a couple of slides? Do that. Can you hear me, Pete?
I can.
Yeah. Can you go back a couple of slides? You dropped out there for a couple of minutes.
Right. Yeah. So
Back. Keep going. We got that one.
right.
We got the next one. Can't remember this one. Oh no, we did this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, we were here. Thank
Right.
you.
How about this one? So
That one, I think.
Yeah, I was just on this. So if your objectives are short term, you're looking at increasing sales leads. You're really going to probably focus on ROI and lower cost per acquisition for lead activity. You'll be looking for revenue lead growth on last year. But if you're looking at the longer term, this is an opportunity to kind of grow your market share. Obviously, as long as you still make a profit, if you spend more on acquiring new customers and look at the kind of longer term narrative in terms of lifetime customer value. So what were those customers that buy from you during this period bring you next year or the year after, if you manage to kind of get them to come back and purchase again? I think that's the longer term view. So yeah, define what your metrics are. And then the main thing, if you've not done it already, is just update your website. Make sure your Black Friday page is good. Create category subsections for that. For SEO, you should leave it up all year. You should have a sign up on it as well. I did, in preparation for this, look at a Black Friday audience I set up in GA4 last year, thinking, oh, it's going to be really big still. But I think they'd taken the page off the website, so it was not as good as I'd hoped. Yeah, and then this is the subcategory pages. So if you are aware of what the deals are going to be right now, you can start to plan your site structure and get those pages up. Even if they've got no necessarily content on them, you can get them there, or it's certainly add them to your Black Friday page and start to get people interested in thinking, well, I might come back next month and have a look at what the offers are. And then just look at your product pages. If you can get a list of those offers that you're going to be running, or you know what they are, just go through the site and see what they look like. If this one's a table lamp that's just a strip, and it's not going to do very well. So if you've got to advertise this, then perhaps put it in a campaign with less of a budget. But you do have the opportunity now to look at where the weaknesses are in your offers if you're that planned in ahead, and you can maybe add extra images. You can use AI to add backgrounds if you're allowed to do that in terms of brand as well. The results are obviously getting better with the AI tools. And then in terms of your site, you need to just probably look at those category pages that are where the deals are going to be. There's a great tool called Pingdom Tools that I use a lot. You can just do a waterfall and it will grade the pages. The home page is normally very fast, I find, but the category page with all the items on it's going to be slower. You can get ideas of, the images are potentially too big, bigger than they need to be. So you can do something about that before it comes to the peak period. And then another tip is there's a trial you can run with Pingdom Tools to monitor the performance of your site. So if you add 5 pages in there, you can see over time, do they slow down, and it shows you a daily graph of how they're performing, and if they go down or break completely, you do know. So you can start to understand whether you need to address your hosting before the peak period, and you might be able to add an upgrade in there to resolve some of those issues. And then the checkout process, make sure that's working as it should. Do your payment methods, are they all fully tracking? I've got clients that have finance pay later options, and sometimes they are a technical nightmare to get working, or you have to add in the data afterwards. Go through the forms, test the pages that you're buying on. If you've not done it for a while, because sometimes you'll find that things are really not as smooth as you think, and there might be some fine tuning refinements you can make to improve things. And then if you've got lead gen, does your tracking fire if the capture's triggered? Sometimes you will get false conversion data because it's essentially firing when they forget to fill in a field, and then it fires again. So understand your target audience. is vital. And you can, to help you do this, you can use your available data. Obviously, if you've run in campaigns for a while, you've probably got a great idea of what the audience is and which audiences work best. But this is always a good opportunity when you're coming up to a period when you're going to spend a lot of money, to just kind of take a look at the available data, and make sure your audience that you do have, particularly on Google Ads. I know the survey suggests that you're not all doing that, but on Google Ads, you need to make sure that you've got those Google GA4 audiences created already in there that they're building for particular category pages or particular products. On Meta, Facebook, you could start to create the audiences now for the types of, for the campaigns that you think you're going to be running. Do your research. And you can also use advert and page engagement audiences on Meta. If you're not doing that already, then I'd recommend you do that, because the data is in the platform. The problem we've had for the last few years is obviously the cookie consent has made website audiences smaller, so you can get around that with using the data in Meta. And then if you're smart, you can add UTM tracking parameters to your social campaigns, and then when they do hit Google GA4, you can then retarget them and use those audiences in Google Ads on your Google Ads campaigns. And if you want to build the audiences now, it's potentially a little bit late for this, but you can start to try and gain extra data by running competitions, or do interactive ad formats with surveys on. I think those are programmatic examples on the right. You could do sign-ups. Black Friday deals sign-ups is probably the main one you want to be looking up now. So those Black Friday pages that I mentioned, add your sign-up form on there and capture the data, and potentially run the offers earlier for those people who've actually bothered to sign up, so you can incentivize them in that way to kind of give you the information that you're looking for. In terms of Google Ads and GA4 audiences, we're looking at custom audiences based on search keywords are a good thing to do. So you could start to look at your top performing products over the year, and if they're on offer, you can make sure that those audiences are good. In market is okay. It's good to layer onto the campaigns. If you've got your customer email data and you have a lot of it, you can segment by recent, lapsed, and highest spending. Those that tend to buy more, and maybe repeat orders, you can be smarter with those. Add those into the campaigns and just layer it all on, and that can help you with helping smart bidding find the customers that you're looking for. And you can also use those audiences in Meta and the social platforms as well. GA4, you've got category audiences, you've got top product audiences, potentially Black Friday products and category audiences if you've still got them from last year. And then that one that I mentioned earlier was, if you can plan ahead for next year, 365-day audiences will help you when you come round to next year. Even if you've not got them particularly large this year, it's planning ahead. And then custom segment audiences, you can add in keywords based on Black Friday plus the product. You can do keyword research to get this data on the right. Okay, yeah, so you can look at the data there, or you could just add them in. I think Google will tell you if you haven't got enough search, please go green if it's got no search. And yeah, if you do sell products that are not necessarily seasonal this time of the year, you'll be surprised there's still likely to be people who are looking for those items. So one of the things you can do is use your keyword planning tools. This is Google Keyword Planner here. There are, Ahrefs, SEMrush, but you can look at the trends over time and then identify whether some of your offers will, how much traction they're likely to get when you've set those campaigns up. This particular client does garden furniture and Christmas products, so we sell a lot of Christmas products during Black Friday, but also the furniture does do well as well, because people they are in the mindset for a deal, as we saw on those previous slides. Yeah, and then the data within your Google Analytics account, whether you're doing Google Ads or not, is invaluable. You can look at things like the age and the gender. You can look at the demographic details, interest by location. It's quite interesting to look at how the users visit your website as during the peak periods. You can sometimes gain an idea of 25 to 34-year-olds in this time they built during this particular period compared to some of the others are a little bit flatter. So understand where most of your users came from. And one thing you can do, obviously, you can also look at where the conversion rate changes. So if your conversion rate does go up as it gets closer, that's something to bear in mind when you're optimizing your budgets on the campaigns. So the important thing is to select your campaign types, decide on your channels and your budgets, and where ultimately you're going to run your ads. It sounds obvious, but look at where you're getting good results already. Don't pick a platform that you're not established on. So I wouldn't go down the Pinterest route if you've not got a good social Pinterest following, or you've not run ads on it for a while, because people have probably already pinned to their boards already in anticipation of what they're going to buy next month. So you would probably be going from a cold start to trying to get those more expensive for you. Upper funnel activity now is a very worthwhile, because those campaigns will drive awareness of your brand. So when they see your ads next month, or when you're running the deals, they're more likely to click on them, engage with them, and you can use those users that do come to you and increase your sales overall. Obviously YouTube, demand gen on Google, prospecting, Facebook, programmatic campaigns. There are other channels available, but it will make the cost per click probably cheaper from your conversion campaigns if you're already topping up those audiences within your accounts now. The survey at the start was quite interesting. Some people are doing 1 week or less. This is probably my least favorite. I think you're kind of almost at the mercy of the smart bidding gods, certainly from the Google point of view, because those campaigns are going to be in learning. So the way you can get around that is to run those offer products in a campaign before, and then when it comes to do a deals launch, just swap out the creatives and the copy, and hopefully you may get enough traction for it to be a success. A full month, it gives you time to optimize. You will need a larger budget. You do get offer fatigue, so you've got to try and refresh your creative, refresh your offer. I've seen clients do a different offer for it, different weeks, or different discounts for different weeks. That's one way of getting around it. 2 weeks is okay. 1 week is my least favorite, and it still happens every year. I get clients, they give you that spreadsheet the day before their Black Friday week and go, "Can you do something with this?" Yes, I can, but if I only had more chance to plan, we'd have probably had better chance of getting the results you're looking for. So you need to set your budget, but also plan for change. So look at spend by spend last year, week by week, day by day. Look at how the CPCs changed. Did the conversion rate change? What was the impact on ROAS? So you may find that you got a lot of clicks and consideration at the start of the month, and then that started to turn into conversions and revenue and ROAS later in the month. So there's lots of data to look at there. Look at the stock levels of the products that you've got on promotion. Look at the margins. Think about your price competitiveness as well. If you have a product that you've been asked to push and it just isn't competitive, but there are better offers and you've still got lots of offers, then you can treat them differently with how you structure your campaigns, because you've done your homework and you know to a certain extent it's not going to do as well as perhaps the management is expecting. Competitor Black Friday pages are a really good place to pinch, steal their best ideas, see which deals they're running. The big brands will be doing this now. I think Curry's is up now there's lots of Black Friday pages live. If you're smart, you've got it running all year. And there's an example of a capture box there. I think they've got a little competition on that one, so that's definitely an incentive. You can review competitor ads. You can do this on all the networks. So Google Ads here, you can see what Black Friday ads they're running. Facebook Ads Library, Pinterest Ads Repository. It's a lovely name, that one. I don't think it wasn't in the UK last time I checked, so you might want to double check that one. Competitor ads on Microsoft Ads is a possibility. TikTok Ads Library there. So if you do your research, look at their landing pages, take their best ideas. Obviously, when you look back at last year's data, you can see what your impression share was, and then also when it launches, you can leverage AI to kind of help you gather this information and kind of analyze the data from various spreadsheets as well to give you, that speed up the process and give you smarter insights. One of the things I like to do is when I've got that spreadsheet of the product offers, I like to kind of go into, put it in a Google Sheet. There's a plugin you can use, I think it's GA4 Reports Builder. You can create lists based on how much revenue these products got in the last 30, 60, 90, 180 days. This helps you to just work out whether the products are any good or not in the past. And this is how you to do a lookup there. So I think it's just referencing cell range from a sheet called GA4 Google Ads last 90 days. And then that's a lookup range, and it's picking the third column value, and then it all pulls it in. So you can, once you've done that, you could also put it in your shopping feed as well if you wanted to have that data as well when you're looking in various places. So consider your offers. This is I think this is the most contentious thing about Black Friday. The fake offers are probably the killers, and your customers or potential customers they're not stupid, so they are going to shop around. So if you're not near it, or your deal isn't really a deal and it was actually cheaper at the start of November, you're probably on a hiding to nothing. Don't try and flog stuff that hasn't sold well before, even if it has a discount. I think if you just focus all on that, you're just going to end up with disappointment. You've got to kind of have good and a mixed range of good, bad, and average offers. Not bad, but good, average, and the products that probably haven't shifted too much. Don't do anything last minute because it doesn't work. Do your research on the products, monitor your competition, have a plan of your budgets. What happens if things sell out? You're going to get more products in. What if your budget runs out? Are you allowed to spend more? Have those conversations in advance, and just also make sure you've got a bank of creators. If you're going to run for 2-4 weeks, you need to refresh those messages and those offers just to see, just to avoid that fatigue, and also get people to come back and maybe consider you again if they think they've seen your deals at the start of the month and you've added in more. You can hopefully bring them back. Keyword research is vital, and make sure that you look at the pages, improve your images, update the copy on your product pages. Now is the time to look at the weaknesses and any gaps and the things that you're trying to sell over the next couple of months. Ping them tools, mentor ready, look at the price competitiveness, look at your historic performance, and you can look at the discount percentages. I think it becomes very important. If you're just offering 10% off in Black Friday, it's almost not going to cut through the noise. You need to kind of think a little bit more than that. I think 20% does get more a click-through rate and engagement, but it's ultimately down to the profit that you've got on those products. So just think about that as well. If your offers don't appear to be great, they're probably not going to get that much traction. So building and managing your campaigns. This is the meerkat moment where you have to put your head up and over the parapet and hope it performs, and make sure you're looking at the field and the landscape ahead. So pre-launch campaign setup. You need to think about how you're going to structure your campaigns. Are you going to put all products in one, turn on Meta's Advantage Plus targeting and hope it works, or you're going to segment by high items, the low margin items, put them in a campaign, give them a different target, high value. It's going to take probably
I think Pete's gone again. It may just be me. We'll give him a second to come back. Yeah, he's gone. Thanks, Max. We'll give him a second. Okay. It's difficult to know whether he knows that he's dropping out. Is also the other difficulty, because half the time comes back talking. I was going to ask Pete actually about return on ad spend, because, like I said, I do some training where we talk these things through. My assumption is, and I think that's probably obvious, but during these peak periods, budgets do tend to have to go up as costs go up. There's just more competition out there. Part of the strategy that we then go through with Black Friday is to start to understand, is it something we want to compete on during those times, or is it something that we decide actually maybe our budget is not best spent during Black Friday, and maybe it's better to pick another time of year once competitors have run out of budget and spent everything trying to compete. That we then select a different time of year to then run our own promotions, because I know even as it is, margins are slim, and it can be very difficult to turn a profit, especially with advertising campaigns where you're paying for those clicks. Can be very difficult to generate that margin that is required. So yes, sales go up, but if the product cost has been decreased and the advertising costs go up as well, is a sale ultimately worth it if you're at if you're selling at a loss? The question then becomes one of client and customer retention, and how long we can keep those customers engaged for going forward, and lifetime value of customers.
Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My top tip as well is, if you're working from home, get decent broadband. The peak period, it could get quite stressful with you not being able to run your campaigns. But there you go. Where did I get to, Darren? Does anyone know? Should I go back a little bit?
I think we're pretty much there. I think you're going from this point.
Yeah, think about how you're going to segment your products. If you've got high value furniture, it's got different user behaviors. Put them in a different campaign, low margin, different target. They'll perform better. Stock levels, if you've got high levels of a product offer, or no, low levels of a product that you know is going to be really popular, you don't need to go for a low ROAS or CPA to shift it. Just be smarter with those. And then if you really are kind of trying to react with the times, if you set up labels, feed labels to kind of dynamically move the products around into different campaigns based on performance, that can work really well as well. That tends to work if you're not doing it for a week though. So a longer period would be more beneficial if you're going to use that approach. Okay. Yeah, and then price competitiveness. There's various tools you can use. There's one called Product Hero that I like to use. You can push this into Meta using a label as well, whether it's at benchmark, below benchmark, or above benchmark. That can sometimes give you an idea of whether you should push those products harder. It's not exactly there's no hard and fast rule of whether above benchmark will sell or not, but there is sometimes data that shows if you're way above, it's just not going to do much. If you've got Google Ads running, or you've got a feed in Merchant Center and you're trying to get those free listing clicks, you can just look at the price competitiveness of those products. There's loads of data in there, and it's really good. And you can, if you want to, put that into a Google sheet and optimize based on those. And this is where you can kind of go into Merchant Center. You go to the products report, and there's a pricing bit, and then you can just drill down, and you can go down to brand, category, and the different products. Pro tip would be to export that out and maybe get your margin data in as well. And then there's price suggestions from Google, which take with a pinch of salt, but you can decide if you want to listen to them and how much profit you would still make if you lowered your prices by the amounts they are suggesting. And then margins, just look at the margins. I'm sure you're doing this, but if somebody's saying just get me a 7 ROAS, and you find there's a massive margin on some of those products, there's an argument to go a little bit below 7 and still make a profit. Put your products in your campaigns now. Even if you've got enough stock, you can start to see how they perform, and then you can, when you come to those shorter Black Friday peak period campaigns, it's not going to go from cold to kind of warm. It'll get there faster, and you'll see better performance. Look at your conversion rates in the previous year. You can look at the week. Google, you could use this data to decide on your budget by week for the other platforms, the social, Meta. And this, one of the Google features is to add a conversion rate adjustment. You can do this for the period, or you could do it by week. Look at the data, and you can even do it by campaign or campaign type. So Google should know that it's the peak period, but if you're doing your sale from mid-November, this is one way to get it to kind of fire up. You can also make more of the campaigns as well, because sometimes smart bidding isn't all it's cracked up to be. Black Friday sale products now, I've mentioned that already. You can in Meta, you can actually, I think the title was wrong on this one, but you can do things like so I think I'm trying. You can add Black Friday products now. You can also create catalog rules in Meta. Get your feed in order as well. Look at the data issues. Are there any data issues in the Meta interface, catalog manager, or Merchant Center? If you've got missing GTINs, that will probably kill visibility on Google. If you've got one image products, it's an opportunity. Look at low click potential in Merchant Center products. That'll be relative to the best selling products in your account, but it also indicates that you've got poor quality images, descriptions. That can be a good start to try and make the most of improving things. And things like missing shipping weights and opportunity. If you've got invalid sale prices, you've got a problem. Shopping experience scorecard, again, Google Ads focused, but if you've not got a returns policy on there, or your browsing experience over the last 30 days isn't good, or your shipping costs are more expensive, those are the kind of areas where you can make tweaks to hopefully improve performance when it comes to the peak. Copy and creative, this is the most important thing at the moment. We know that automation in Meta, Google, and TikTok is taking over targeting options. Unless what you can do is make sure your creative stands out, and that's going to give you a little bit more control on how those campaigns perform. Black and yellow, no surprise here, does better in November, so I wouldn't deviate away from dark with yellow, or maybe orange as well. So I've had clients do Black Friday color schemes that are opposite to this before. I think it's almost in your subconscious now, because we've been ingrained to look for these deals. Now time is limited. Another great tip is to use a third-party tool to enhance your frames. You can still add frames manually within Meta and for Instagram ads, but there's something called Confect.io, and I think you can it's £300 a month. But so you can also create templates there to really lift your ads and make them look a little bit better. You can also test your promotions and copy now, review your past data, so you could tweak the CTA call to action there, or you could try price strike throughs versus percentage off. You could try free delivery. So those incremental changes now, with a bit more data later on. You can use the AI Advantage Plus options. So just be careful, because sometimes you've got brand guidelines and it can create some really terrible ads, and you may end up with some awkward conversations. If you are going to run ads, you can kind of mirror the approach across different networks, but do try multiple variations and do customize the assets for the different platforms. Don't go with a smaller square video on YouTube or YouTube Shorts, because it will just not look that good. Design your assets for the platforms, and video assets, as I mentioned, right aspect ratios for each platform. You can be creative with the headlines. Just test it, see if it works. Sometimes emojis work well. Just give that some consideration. Do your creators early, finalize designs and upload them in advance to avoid that painful approval pending headache. Think about your USPs. Think about whether to put the promo codes in the headlines or descriptions. Just do your research. Make sure you've got different ads with different messaging, and look at what the competition are doing. You can use, certainly on Google Ads, promotion extensions. You can get quite creative with customizer countdowns, image extensions, the whole works really. If you're doing ads, make sure you've added some Black Friday element to the creative. I think it's just going to stand out, rather than just a picture with some text underneath that doesn't necessarily say Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Christmas deals, those sort of things. You can experiment with putting the keywords into your product headlines. Don't over spam this, but there's opportunities to retitle some of the products and see how that performs. Proceed with caution, I think, with that one. So once you're ready, you've done all your planning, you've done your preparation, you've done your research, it's time to launch. But before you do that, just check for mistakes. Get somebody, if you have them available, to check through campaigns to see if it's going to work, if there's any errors, because you're potentially going to spend a higher amount during the next few months than any other period. If you make a mistake, it's more costly. There's when the campaigns are running, just look at the insights, whether it's Google Ads or Meta. See whether you're getting enough clicks, see what the recommendations are in terms of your budget. In Google, you can see who you're coming up against. You could segment by day if you want to, and just start to see. Obviously, Amazon, you're not really going to necessarily come up against, be able to compete with them. But if you're in a more niche industry, you may find that some of your competitors are outbidding you, and you may want to react. There's customized columns to help with budget pacing for those Google Ads people. So customized date range. You can look at budget pacing, break even, CPC. You could add that as a column. Expected spend, those sort of things. Those are good to help with the management. Check your feeds have updated. There's nothing worse than you've done the campaigns and your catalog campaigns and the feed has just fallen over. It's not a nice feeling, but if you've checked it, at least you can sort out the problem earlier before it becomes too much of a lost sales opportunity. If you are using rules and you've got scheduling, check you've got the dates right. Check you've not put the American date format or done a mistake like that. Look for budget limitation issues and advert eligibility issues. was trying to publish some campaigns for a client on Meta last week, and I was on the bus tethered on my phone, and it blocked my account because they thought I was from trying to potentially hack the account. So that can be fun as well. And then don't be afraid to look at what competitors are doing, but just react in a measured way, because you need to be sensible with your approach. In terms of bidding optimization, do review the suggestions, but be careful with drastic changes on Meta. If you've got an ad set with a £40 budget and it's hitting a ROAS, if you double it to 100 per day, that ROAS is going to certainly go down. So incrementally, if you've got the time and the patience, rather than reactive big changes, because you may not get the results you want. Google Ads, this graph is, and these suggestions are always a bit contentious. So just look at what it's set now, what you're actually achieving, and just think about 10% incremental adjustments rather than big ones. And then look at what's selling well in terms of during the duration of the campaigns. If you've got some offers and you've got enough click data, and there's something that's not really working very well, don't be afraid to just pause it, or move it to a different campaign to control how it's spending. And then cross-check what's happening in the back end of your website. If you're using GA4, just watch out for that attribution delay. And then another one I like to do is the meta catalog. If you get loads of clicks on specific products, it's sometimes a good idea to look in your back end, see if those are actually selling, and if they're not, they're just getting the clicks but not direct revenue. You might want to alter your campaigns and try to improve performance that way. So that's a lot of content with hopefully some useful insights. And sorry about the internet lag. That's Virgin Media. I shall be having a call with them shortly. But in a wrap up, the planning is very important. So data is everything. Look at your data, look at the competitors, look at your stock. Are your offers any good? That's really what you need to do. Get your marketing plan in place. Do the preparation in terms of your audiences. Now, if you're a Google advertiser like me, you can just make changes now in GA4 that'll help you in a few weeks time. Check out your site, campaigns. Make sure you've picked the right channels. You've got the right formats. Have you got enough creatives? Don't be too crazy with the bid strategy. Think about how you're going to split out those products, and then just do the checks and just optimize with sensible decisions as you're going through. Copy and creative is everything. So just try and make sure that your ads stand out, that you're using all the available assets within the campaign formats, and you've nice frames in on your Instagram ads and on catalog ads, and then your website. That's probably something to look at right now, just to make sure it's in the right place. Check the speed, the hosting, the checkout. Just check everything. And that's me. Any questions, Darren? Apart from
I was talking about costs generally, and this period, costs on across ad platforms. They generally see an increase, right, during these sorts of peak seasons.
Yes, yeah, it's the increased competition. Last month I saw one of my clients, home and garden sector, they had a 29% year-on-year CPC costs, and I looked at the graph last year and it also went up. So those are certainly challenges. It means you get fewer clicks for your budget. So I think if you are deciding on your campaign budgets, you need to factor that in. If the same budget as last year, when the inflation CPC cost of 29% equals 29% fewer clicks. So you've got a challenge there unless you can move that conversion rate up. So
and then I suppose if costs are going up, return on ad spend naturally will likely decrease.
Yeah.
So part of the conversation you mentioned at the start is lifetime value of the customer and keeping them engaged on an ongoing basis. So that has to enter the conversation, I suppose, if margins are tight, because we have to if you're going to advertise at the time of the year, there needs to be a justification for that reduction in ad spend.
Yeah, ultimately, you need to make a profit, whether that's during the peak itself, or if you look at the sales data, do your customers, how often they buy in a 6-12 month period, how much do they spend? So those are the decisions to look at. And there are certainly within Google Ads, you can optimize the campaigns to look for new customers. You can add in an incremental bid adjustment, like of a penny, and then that will show you how many new customers the platform's going after. There's also a lapsed customer option as well, so you can bid more to try and re-engage with those people who used to buy from you. So there's different approaches to be taken. But yeah, it can be quite challenging, because sometimes you can spend too much during the peak period, and if you look at it on the immediate return, it doesn't look great. So I think that's probably where the pain point was coming on the survey at the start, when people said they're a little bit apprehensive. It's trying to get the results that you're looking for, isn't it, ultimately?
Yeah, totally. Great, thank you, Pete, and thank you. The massive amount of content, really insightful. I'm sorry you had internet issues. Thank you for being persistent with those. I don't think we missed anything, but like I say, handouts are available, so you can have a look through and remind of any key points after the fact. Thank you, Pete. Next week we have, I believe, Rachel and David joining us. So we're going to be talking about social shopping. So in the lead up to Black Friday and Christmas, these are the times of the year where we need to be talking e-commerce and how to get more sales. And if you haven't used any social platforms before, or you're intrigued to know more, I thought TikTok was particularly low on that survey that Pete put together at the start. So TikTok's been massive for a lot of businesses, and I think something that should be investigated at the very least. So I'm sure Rachel will go through some of that and then talk alongside David around social shopping in the lead up to Black Friday and Christmas. So join us, please, for that next week. I will just run a Google review link that should pop up on your screen soon. So we do Friday webinars every week, more or less, to put a lot of time and effort into creating these slides. And a review is a really nice thing to get, just to show appreciation. And just goes a long way to sharing the message to more people. So if you have 2 minutes just to leave us a Google review, that'd be really handy. Otherwise, that just leaves me to say thank you once more to Pete. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hopefully see you next week, and have a lovely weekend.
Good luck with your campaigns as well.
Good luck talking to Virgin Media.
Oh yes, thanks, Darren.
See ya. Thanks, guys.
Bye.